Hello, Internet, and welcome to and welcome to Not Slaying 101. Welcome. Today, we are doing a session 0 for our new series called Thursday's Children. We are playing Vaesen, and today we're going to be building some characters and doing some fun things. But before we do that, you just watched our wonderful intro video featuring a lot of these shows that we currently have on our channel. If you are with us live on Twitch, you can see the schedule for all of those shows down below our faces on our drop page. If you are not, if you're with us in the future on YouTube, you can check that out pinned to our Twitter. You can also find our schedule in our Discord, which you can join and come hang out with us and talk to us about our shows and your shows and all of your favorite games and wonderful things. And all of those links are in the chat currently. Yeah, we're doing a session 0 today, and I'm really excited. It's gonna be chill, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna talk a little bit about this new game that we're gonna be playing for a bit. We're gonna build characters, we're gonna do some history, that kind of thing. And yeah, but before we do, I'm gonna let these fine folks around me introduce themselves. They can't tell you who they're playing yet because they don't 100% know, but they can tell you who they are and where you can find them on the internet. So let us begin with Sid.
Hey, I'm Christina Sid. You can find me on the Twitters at Greek Sid. You can also find me in the Gameknights Discord a lot, and the GGK Worlds Discord a lot, and on Discord a lot. I have a desk job. That's just where I'm at most of the time. Yeah. Let's see. I'm on here on the internet, on and off Thursday through Sundays. I like hanging out with these people. They're pretty great. I like them a lot. Today, though, I am doing a one-shot over on twitch.tv/Colonomicon, which is kind of why we started a little early today, because that's going to be at 7 o'clock Eastern over there. We're playing some Apocalypse World, PBT May. I am partially into my very elaborate cosplay for that character. It's gonna be a shit show, guys. We cannot wait. Definitely come check it out. Gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah. And I feel like I need to tell you a character, but I don't have one yet. So you just have to stick around and see. There you go.
I think it's the same order as usual. I don't actually know.
Okay, hi, I'm LB Hackemup. You can find me at LB Hackemup on the Twitters and the Twitches. I'm live next at 8:30 p.m. EST tonight. Savannah and I will be playing in my homebrew game on my channel, LB Hackemup, and I'm gonna throw some scary things at my characters and try and scare my players. So it's gonna be super fun. High stakes. Get ready. And for the rest of my schedule, just check my Twitter. I don't know who I'm playing tonight, but boy, am I gonna do an accent. It's probably gonna be bad tonight, but I'll practice.
Hello, everybody. I'm Val, at the Kraken's Crown on Twitter and Twitch. You can find me here Thursdays through Sundays, either playing games or running them. We just had a awesome finale last night for one of my bi-weekly Saturday games called Saturday Night's Star Power. It was our season finale. We will be back for more. If you missed it, definitely go check it out because it was pretty wild and a lot of fun. And I won't spoil anything more than that, but you should go check it out. But if you missed it and you don't want to recap because you don't want to watch everything because you don't have time, join us in 1 month for our session 0. We're gonna be playing Fate starting on the 26th, doing our setup for that. And if you don't know anything about Fate, session 0 is a lot of fun, so definitely come join us. And I run a bunch of other games, and you can look up their stuff. Some of them are in the process of getting into finale territory as well, but I'll talk about those when they get closer. And also, and like everyone else, I don't know who I'm playing tonight, so.
All right, and you know me, I'm Savvy. I'm at Savvy Seaworth, and I am your game master for this game. Your keeper of monsters, your monster of ceremonies, your whatever you would like to call me. Just don't call me late for dinner. So we are gonna go ahead and get started. So first thing up, I want to talk a little bit about this. Don't boo me, chat. Go away.
We're off to a great start if we're already getting
No.
booed in chat.
No one asked you. First things first, I'm kidding. Don't go away. I love you. I want to talk a little bit about this game. This game we are playing is called Vaesen. It takes place in a mythical version of 19th century Scandinavia. So we're in the 1800s, if I am to remember correctly how centuries work. I always have to think about that. The cool thing about this setting, and the thing that I'm really excited to get into, we are gonna be playing in a place called the Mythic North. This is Scandinavia. I'm not gonna stick you in a particular country or anything like that. Just the general area. We're gonna name our fictional town and stuff like that in just a little bit. But the cool thing about this setting is that the mythical North combines phenomena from the entire 1800s. So if you are looking for a specific date or a specific year, or for this to be historically accurate in any sense of the word, you in the wrong place. Those of you who know me as a GM know that I don't do that shit anyway. So I found a game that doesn't make me. But yeah, it's we'll be in the Mythic North. So we're going to be combining a ton of stuff from the 1800s, all the political and philosophical movements, the different sort of medical practices. There will be Victorian era dress alongside steamboats and trains and all kinds of stuff like that. But the crux of the game, yeah, like chat, fuck history. Yeah. So the crux of the game is that in the Mythic North, where these characters are going to exist in this town that we're going to name, there are creatures called Vaesen that live alongside humans. They are a variety of supernatural beings. Obviously, the ones in this game are based off of Scandinavian lore and history and stuff like that. So that's going to be really fun. There might be some things that you recognize from stories and fairy tales. There are also some new ones that I was not familiar with that I'm very, very excited to explore. But they are called Vaesen. They are lots of different things, but they all share one ability, and that is that they are completely imperceptible to humans unless they want to be seen. So there are a lot of different kinds of them. Some of them good, some of them less so, some of them not good. What's bringing our player characters here together is that they all possess the same ability called the sight. There are very, very few people who possess this ability. They are either born with it or it is triggered by some traumatic event that causes them to gain it. But it is called the sight, and it allows them to see Vaesen. In the mythical North, there are fairy tales about these people, and they are called Thursday's Children. That's the name of the show. There's a whole rhyme about it. But in the rhyme, they name the abilities of the children that are born on every day. And it is said that people that are born with the sight or people who gain it later in life were all born on a Thursday. So on Sundays, we're going to be playing a game called Thursday's Children. Because I'm a monster is really what it is. But So what we're dealing with these characters is that we're gonna do some of this, like building this into your backstories and stuff. Why you have the sight, were you born with it? Did something happen to you that caused you to gain it? That kind of thing. But you're all Thursday's children, or sighted, and what has happened to you recently is that you have all come together to form a society. There is an organization called the Society that existed for many, many years before you ever discovered that you could see supernatural creatures. They once investigated and dealt with Vaesen that were threatening to humans. 10 years ago, the Society locked up their headquarters, abandoned all of their pursuits, and the Society became defunct, and no one knows why. We are picking up 10 years later after this, and we're going to talk about the NPC as well that has given you this, but the three of you, there will be four of you, because our wonderful friend, who unfortunately is out of town this weekend, but she will be back with us next week, Morgan, or Imagine Matrix on the internets, is going to be joining us for this game. So there will be four of you. The four of you have come together through a single person that you all know, who has given you the keys to the Society's old headquarters and told you, take up the mantle again. We need help. And that is where we are living. That is the premise of this game. And look at you all taking notes, like writing stuff down. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you.
Like we said at the beginning, we have to do this because Alex isn't here for this game.
Yeah, when you're in a game without an Alex, you really got to.
You got to take your own notes. Between the three of you, I'm sure you will write down something important. Sorry if this first bit is going to be me talking at you a lot, but I want to get some stuff like out on the table before we start making characters and things like that. Val, this is what you had asked me about before we started, but this game comes with this great list that I want to talk to you all about called the 6 Principles. This is both for the game itself, for you as players, and also for your knowledge as characters. So these are very, very important. These are in the Roll20 game. They're at the very top under the 6 principles. And I think it will be good to go over them briefly to kind of get a feel for like the tone of that we're going to be setting. So the tone of this game is going to be, we're living in a universe that is a little bit darker than Slaying 101. Not to say that there is not levity and brevity, not to say that there will not be fun moments and jokes and goofs and all that stuff, because obviously you know us and you know this group and it's gonna happen.
We literally can't help ourselves.
But yes, we can't help ourselves, and I'm not going to stop us, because that's how I exist. But the tone of this is going to be a little bit darker, a little bit more intense. I'm not sure what's going on with LB Hack'em right now.
I'm sorry, I started singing "Don't Stop Me Now."
Oh, okay. I just saw you like
having a good
jamming.
time,
I knew you were singing, but I could not reach your lips.
So while LB rocks out, but yeah, there's gonna be levity, there's gonna be jokes, there's gonna be goofs, there's gonna be funny stuff that happens. There will probably be whole mysteries that surround funny shit, because I can't do doom and gloom all the time. No one likes that. It's not well, some people probably like that somewhere, but it's not fun for us. And so getting into this, that being said, there's gonna be some darker stuff. There's gonna be more danger in this game just in general than there was in Slaying 101. This game has critical injuries, it has serious medical care, that's involved in all that stuff, just so we know that going in. But so the 6 principles are both for you as players, for me as GM, and for you as characters. So things that you know about this universe, which I think are important as we go into building these characters. The first being, Basin are neither good nor evil. We dealt with this a little bit in Slaying 101, and I'm going to try to do that with this too as a GM, where all of the mysteries are not just going to be, oh, here's the evil monster, how do we kill it, find it, stab it, done, move on to the next. This game, while it does have combat, is not remotely combat based. This is an investigative game. This is a mystery solving game. And Basin are sentient, for the most part, independent creatures who act on their own motives. Some of them are good. Some of them like humans even. There are lots of stories of different Basin who come in and they bless fields. They help farmers with their crops. They do a lot of things to sort of protect the towns that they live in, and things like that are the ones that they live near. Some are mischievous, some are tricksters, some are creatures of whim and whimsy, and some of them are just murderous and bad for humans. Some of them kidnap children in the night. Some of them kill people. Some of them sacrifice humans for their own needs. So all of them have motive, and to lump them together would be a mistake for anyone who is trying to investigate them. The next principle being, nature is dark and dangerous. That's pretty self-explanatory. So this is where your headquarters exists, is going to be a city. We have a little map and everything. We're going to name the city. We're going to talk about your headquarters and stuff like that. You're safe in the city. You're safest in your headquarters. But nature is the sort of unknown. So when you end up traveling, which you will have to do, if you end up out in the woods, if you end up out in the mountains, those are the dangerous places outside of society. If something happens to you and you go missing out in the woods, no one is going to come looking for you. If you get lost on the side of a mountain, no one is going to be able to come and rescue you. You are on your own. Nature is dangerous, and nature is where the Basin live and thrive. So that tonally, I think, is very important. But in cities, you are safe to a degree. Your headquarters is going to function essentially like a haven would for the most part in Monster of the Week. It's going to be the safest place. However, even it is not completely safe from threats. So look over your shoulder. The third principle is that Scandinavia is changing. So, like I said, we're dealing with a mythical version of 19th century Scandinavia. This is sort of in the center of industrialization and the very violent shift that was into industrialization. So, a lot of people are being misplaced. You're going to have abandoned farms. You're going to have, a rise in the population of people without homes, things like that, people living on the streets. And while people are being displaced, Vaesen are also being displaced. Vaesen, who have lived for centuries in an agricultural society or alongside an agricultural society, are also suddenly dealing with the violent shift into industrialization. And that can cause a lot of problems based on their reaction to humans, and that's where you come in. So that is going to be sort of the root of a lot of this, is that everything is changing very drastically, and it's affecting not just humans, but the creatures who live alongside them as well. The other three principles are really more sort of gamey, game-based, and for you as players, they are knowledge and cunning are the keys to success. The journey is part of the goal, and you will not survive without each other. So like I said, this is a mystery-based game. This is a very investigative-based game. The mysteries that we are dealing with, while violence might be involved, are very rarely going to just be solved with violence alone. It is very rarely going to be just kill it, get it out of the way, deal with it. You might run into that with a particularly murderous creature, but usually there's a lot more to it than that, as I think we've learned over the course of playing Monster of the Week and stuff like that. So those are the principles of the game. Are there any of those that you all want to talk about, since I've laid them out for you? Because I think they're really awesome, and just having like a list like this of like, hey, this is where we're at and this is how it's going to work, I think is great, and is a great thing about this game.
Oh, I think it's perfect.
I love it. Any of you guys want to elaborate on? I tried to like have some notes there about them to make sure they make sense.
No, I think they make I don't have any questions about them. I think it'll be awesome to tie these into making our characters, though.
Cool. All right. So that's where we live. So what I want to do first is to go through character creation with the three of you. So I've got the PDF pulled up. You guys can as well. The list, the order we're going to do things, is also in the Roll20 game, in the handout titled Character Creation. I know a couple of you had archetypes that you were thinking of, and it looks like a couple of you also already have character names, which is excellent. So this game, the way that this runs for the folks out there, if you're familiar with like Tales from the Loop or Things from the Flood and games like that, a little bit, it runs very, very similarly to those. It's very similar to Monster of the Week in that there are character archetypes, and there's going to be no overlap. Everybody's going to have one. As far as like dice and everything goes, if you're familiar with the Forge in the Dark systems, like Blades in the Dark, where you build dice pools, it's very similar to that as well. So going into this, just for everybody that's watching, if you're familiar with any of those games, that's the kind of thing we're going to be dealing with. It's a little bit more rules light than Blades in the Dark, but if you're familiar with like Tales from the Loop, that kind of thing, it runs like that. So the first thing we're going to do is have everybody pick a character archetype. The ones you have to choose from, you guys are all like bopping back and forth. Are you excited or what?
Yes.
I love building new characters. So there are several. You've got the academic, the doctor, the hunter, the occultist, the officer, the priest, the private detective, the servant, the vagabond, and the writer. And I think the names of them sort of speak for themselves. Who's picked?
I think we all have, yeah.
All right. Well, let's start with Sid.
I'm gonna go writer.
Okay.
I'm thinking newspaper reporter. Do I have a type? Maybe. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, so a writer maybe writes for the local newspaper. Okay. Val?
Yep, reporter.
I'm gonna go with the doctor.
Okay. That'll
Yeah.
be a fun thing for us to talk about in a moment.
Yeah. And as far as my understanding, like 19th century medicine, like there wasn't really like specialties and stuff at this point. You're just a doctor and you did a lot of it. So yeah, I'm kind of like leaning more towards like surgical.
A surgeon.
Yeah, but
I have some stuff about medical history for you then, because a surgeon is a great choice for this era of medicine.
Yes.
Get ready for leeches.
All right, bloodletting. LB.
I'm gonna go the servant route.
Okay, the servant route. Who do you serve?
We can talk about it. I was thinking Sid, obviously, but if that doesn't work out, I'm okay with being something else.
Okay. We'll talk about it as we go through the history and stuff, because both of these characters could definitely use a right hand. You can also function as a right hand to both, kind of be a jack of all trades. That's the great thing about the servant. All right, cool. So we've got a writer, a doctor, and a servant. Then let us move on to the next bit. We're going to talk about how old your characters are. So there are 3 age groups in this game. You can be young, which is like 17 to 25. You can be middle-aged, which is 26 to 50.
And then serious.
We talked about this before the game.
This is friendly reminder. It's the 1800s.
We're all middle-aged
Every
here.
one of us here is middle-aged.
All of us
That
is technically
not
middle-aged.
okay.
This is the 1800s, however mythical, and people didn't live that long. Partially because for the first half of it, of some of the medical care they were getting. But so you've got young, middle-aged, and then anything 51 plus is considered old. Now, what this does mechanically is this is going to tell you how many attribute points and how many skill points you get. So your attributes are your 3 or 4. How many of them are there? There are 4. So your attributes are like your stats in D&D. There are 4 main ones. You have physique, precision, logic, and empathy. And then there are 12 skills, which are all tied back to the attributes. So the older you are, the more experience you've had, the more points you get to put into your attributes, or the more points you get to put into your skills, excuse me. But the less points you actually get to put into your attributes, which I think is fun. So they balance each other out. So if you want more points to put into specific skills, you're going to want to go older. If you want more points to put into your sort of larger attributes, you're going to want to go younger. So does anybody sort of know where they want to fall on the spectrum?
Yes, I'm middle-aged. Then I'm just gonna go middle-aged. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say middle-aged. I'll figure out my actual age later.
Okay, that's fine.
Unless you want a child servant.
No.
It does start at 17, so.
Yeah, no one's a child here. Please.
No children. Even though it's called Thursday's Children, ain't got no children here.
I'm really struggling with this one, actually. I'd like to talk it through with the group because I could see no matter which age group I pick, it being a very
Patch
interesting for a doctor. For a doctor character, like because I was like, it could be fun. I was initially leaning towards middle-aged, like on the younger side, but has some experience and stuff. But I also think it could be fun to do like a young doctor who is like new to the scene, trying to make their mark, like that sort of thing. Also, like really old doctor could, not really old, I mean 50 something.
Yeah.
51 plus. I mean, you can be really old.
Oh my god.
But also like an older doctor with more experience could be fun too. So I don't know.
So let me, because I think this might help while you're thinking about what sort of doctor you want to be. I want to talk briefly about how medical care was sort of working in this century, which again, excuse me, we are kind of mashing this all together. So the 19th century essentially is split pretty much down the middle in the way that medical care worked. The first half of that up to about 1850, you were still in the age of heroic medicine, which is, if you like medical history, read about the age of heroic medicine, because holy shit, these people were just doing everything, anything and everything. That's why it was called the Age of Heroic Medicine. Doctors essentially considered themselves to be heroes. Many people consider them to be heroes, and they would do anything and everything they could think of to save you, even if they killed you in the process. That's kind of the theme of the Age of Heroic Medicine. This is a lot of sweating, a lot of purging, a lot of bloodletting. This is that age of the four humors, so the two biles, phlegm, and blood, that you were dealing with. You would, if somebody was bleeding, you might bleed them to solve the bleeding. Heroes they were. The Age of Heroic Medicine. That being said, in the mid-century around this time is when the Age of Heroic Medicine sort of fell out of favor and we started getting into palliative care. Palliative care being the idea of optimizing a patient's quality of life. So a huge shift from heroic medicine. So what we're going to end up with here are doctors probably butting heads a lot with other doctors, because all of this is sort of collapsing in on itself in the Mythic North when we're kind of pulling things from everywhere. So you're going to get heroic doctors, you're going to get palliative doctors, and depending on how old you are, that is probably going to influence what kind of doctor you are.
Yeah, and I was
so
kind
I think
of leaning...
that was a lot to say, that like,
yeah,
that is very important to, I think, the building of this character, and like, what kind of care. Are you a doctor who was a part of that heroic age and is transitioning out, or doesn't want to transition out? Or are you a young doctor who is all about palliative care? Are you a young doctor who thinks we should go back to the Age of Heroic Medicine? Like, it's all about sort of what, how wild you want to get.
Can I ask the most important question?
Uh-huh.
What makes them more romanceable?
Yeah.
It's really how romanceable versus where do you want to be on the hot crazy scale?
Yes.
Are you...
See, and that's why I'm kind
completely
of... I think
romanceable? Are you completely batshit? Are you somewhere in between?
I may go with the group here to the middle-aged category, because that strikes me as somebody who could be on the cusp of like embracing some of these new ideas, but also still doing some of the crazy shit that the older doctors were doing. So yeah, because I had this idea for my character being more like pioneering, trying to be more innovative, like trying to come up with like to embrace some new ideas with medicine, but also being really like obsessive about it, and maybe for their own ego and less for like the patient, maybe. So I'll go with middle-aged.
Okay. How middle-aged do you want to be? There's a big range.
There's a big range.
There's a big range in there. All right, that was the stuff I wanted to talk about medicine. I have so many notes. You all would be so proud of me. All right, so we're all gonna land in the middle-aged category. It seems like we can pick actual ages once we sort of delve a little bit more into some of this. The next step would be... Oh, yes.
This isn't like Tales from the Loop where we're going to be like tracking our age or something. Like when we get to like the old group, then we lose points and stuff like that.
No, this is purely based in your character creation. So, since we are all middle-aged, that is going to give you points to spend. So everybody is going to have 14 attribute points and 12 skill points. I'm going to have to pull up the thing because there's a minimum and a maximum that you can put in. So all of your attributes, when you put points into them, should be between, I think, 2 and 5. I'm looking. No, it's between 2 and 4, except for your main attribute, which has a maximum of 5. So under your archetype, there's a little box that's got your main attribute, your main skill, that kind of thing. There's logic, precision, physique, and empathy. So when you distribute those points throughout your 4 attributes, it can be anywhere from 2 to 4, except for your main attribute. Your main attribute can go up to a 5 when you distribute those points. So I'm going to give you guys a second to distribute those. If you want to talk about that, so we get kind of a spread, I always think that's a good idea.
So you said anything that's not our main, the max is a 3?
4.
4, okay.
Yeah. So the minimum is 2, the maximum is 4. So it can be 2, 3, or 4. Your main attribute can go up to a 5, and you all have 14 points to spend.
14. Okay.
Okay. So we all automatically have to deduct 8 for all of our attributes.
So go ahead and put 2s in everything is essentially what I would do, and then go from there.
Okay. So
Okay,
we all
my...
have. Oh, sorry. Go.
My main attribute is physique.
Okay. Mine's logic.
Mine is empathy.
Okay, so we've got 3 of the 4 off the bat.
I was assuming I'm probably gonna be mostly logic and precision. That seemed to make sense for me for a doctor type, for a surgeon type character.
I guess I can say like what the attributes sort of go with. So physique is, I think the character she'd say them, but for
I say the characters are really cool. If you cursor over the attribute, it gives you like a summary of what it does too.
So so for the folks at home, you've got physique, precision, logic, and empathy. Physique is essentially how big and strong you are. The book describes it as your ability to both take and give a beating. So big and strong. Precision is your coordination and like your motor skills. So Val talking about being a doctor, that makes sense for that to be one of yours. Logic is your intellectual capacity, how well you solve problems. It's also how well educated you are. And then empathy obviously is your persuading, charming, lying, your charisma dump in this one, your ability to understand other people. I like it being called empathy instead of charisma, because it is based in your ability to understand other people. Rachel, thank you for the gift subs. We love you very much. Thank you so much for that. Wow, that's really nice.
Love you, girl.
So I was thinking I'm probably gonna max logic, put a 4 in precision, and then probably put my last point in empathy to have it at a 3, and then my physique would be at a 2.
I was probably gonna max empathy, 4 to logic, 3 to precision, and then 2 in physique.
Yeah, I maxed physique, 3 in precision, 2 in logic, 3 in empathy.
That seems like a really good spread.
Yeah. And then Morgan can do whatever the fuck she wants.
Yeah, and she can fill in pretty much wherever she wants.
Yeah, sounds like the only thing we don't have is somebody maxed in precision, but mine's at a 4. We don't necessarily need it. Yeah, that doesn't sound. We're not going to have a group that's like nobody can lift anything or talk to people.
No,
or
that's
something.
why I love the character creation for these games, because they really encourage you to be like, talk about this as a group. Like, make sure that as a group you decide, like, do we all want to be good at one thing, or do we want to spread these out? It's lovely. All right, so now we're gonna get to skills. So your skills, of which there are 12, there are 3 skills that go with each attribute. Essentially, you've got agility, close combat, and force. For physique, for precision, you've got medicine, ranged combat, and stealth. For logic, you've got investigation, learning, and vigilance. And for empathy, you've got inspiration, manipulation, and observation. So because you're all middle-aged, you've all got 12 skill points. Each skill, again, eventually will have a value between 0 and 5. So when you're spending these points at character creation, you cannot put more than 2 points in any skill, except for, again, your archetype's main skill, which you can put up to a 3. So you'll have skills, all your skills will be between 0 and 2. They can stay at 0 if you like. They'll be between 0 and 2. You can max out your main skill up to a 3.
I think it's interesting that you're muted, LB. Sorry, I think you started
Sorry.
talking before me.
Our main 3 skills we can bump up to 3.
Or just
Like-
the main one listed on our
It is
archetype.
just the main one that's
Just the
listed
main
under
one.
your archetype. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, dang.
So, for example, the
Forceful.
doctor's is medicine.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That
I
one
was
you
gonna
can bump up to a 3. Any others you can bump up to a 2.
Okay. I think it's interesting that that medicine falls under precision instead of
It is-
logic.
It is, I think, right for the time period.
No, it makes
Yeah.
sense. It makes sense. But I think it's cool because it doesn't you can't min max it.
Yeah.
What are everybody's main skills? I know the doctor's is medicine.
Force.
Writer. Force.
Force.
Writer
Okay.
is inspiration.
Okay. Interesting. The
I
servants is
am-
force.
Hell yeah.
What is
You've
it?
seen that episode of Doctor Who, right?
Okay.
That's just
Yes.
me. That's just
Okay.
gonna be me.
You're like the
Inspiration-
bouncer of the group.
Yeah.
Inspiration basically means just talking. Okay, so bullshitting is inspiration. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a whole list. I think it runs
The hovering
over
thing
like
is so great.
which skills are which. But yeah, you've got, let's see, inspiration. Inspiration is the ability to address a crowd, encourage and guide your friends, and create or understand works of art. When trying to influence the thoughts or actions of a group of people, you make an inspiration test. So this is different than manipulation. Manipulation being trying to influence how other people feel or think by lying, flirting, bribing, negotiating, haggling, or using your social skills in other ways.
I mean, that really is
Um,
just a Thursday, but no, kidding.
It really is just a Thursday. Now, they don't call them Thursdays children for nothing.
Ayo!
But yeah, inspiration is more of an encouragement, a talking to crowds, things like that, which makes sense if you are a writer,
Mhm.
because you're trying to reach, I assume, as big of an audience as you can.
Do we want to talk about what everybody's picking?
Yeah.
I went ahead and did the +3 in inspiration, so doing a lot of bullshitting. And then I went ahead and plunked 2 into manipulation and observation too, which makes a lot of sense for an investigative journalist. And then I think I'm gonna put 2 into investigation as well. And then I'm gonna plunk 1 into vigilance. Because I don't want to get snuck up on if I'm waiting for a source or something. 1 in stealth, and then probably my last one in ranged combat, because she's not getting all up in the front.
Mhm.
Sure.
I'm doing 2 in agility, 2 in close combat, and 3 in force. I'm thinking I'm gonna do 1 in stealth. I probably will do 2 in observation, 1 in manipulation, and then maybe, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 1 more.
Yeah, I'm just assuming that what you guys are saying is adding up to 12.
Yeah.
So I'm not counting.
I'm thinking
Sid, that could have
maybe-
been like 20 points.
I'm gonna move the one from vigilance to learning instead.
Yeah, should I do
Okay.
1 in medicine or
makes more
1 in
sense.
vigilance? Just so we have someone else.
Do vigilance.
Vigilance.
Yeah.
I think that tracks.
Nobody's done any of the combat-based ones I'm reading so far.
I put 1 in ranged combat.
Nothing high, but
I have,
yeah.
nothing.
I have 2 in close combat and 3 in force.
Okay, so somebody's got something. Okay,
Yeah.
because I'm not putting
I'm the
anything
fighter.
in combat skill.
Yeah, I was about to say
Yeah.
we
Yes.
throw the servant at everything.
So it's like the servant is your
She be
sort
strong.
of physique based
Yeah.
character.
So I'm putting 3 in medicine. I'm putting for my main kind of stats, 2 in investigation, 2 in learning, and 1 in vigilance. And then I put 2 in observation because I thought that made sense for a doctor.
Mhm.
And then that leaves me with 2 that I'm putting in stealth for reasons that we'll talk about later.
Okay.
All right.
I had a thought.
So yes, according to your age, we have distributed our attribute points. We've distributed our resources, or skills and resources. So pull up, roll quick.
Is it talent next?
Yeah, I'm thinking because there is everyone has resources, and the resource sources are at your disposal. There is a table for this, so we can do one of 2 things. I can let you pick based on the kind of character that you are playing, or this is on page 22 of the PDF, or we can roll on the table and we can use that to sort of influence the kind of character that you're building. How much chaos are we feeling today?
Where's the
I will-
table?
Page 22 of the PDF of the rulebook.
Got it.
Okay, so my for the doctor it says like resources 4 through 6, so that means I get to pick from between 4 and 6.
Yeah. So if you look at your archetype, you've got a resources range essentially.
Okay.
You can either pick one of the resource levels in that range, or I can let you roll and see where we land.
As fun, as tempting as the chaos is, I feel like the ones in my range make sense for what I want to do with the character.
Let's... Can I combine them and have you roll within your range?
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Okay.
Let's do that because I think it's fun. Okay, so everybody should have a range somewhere. Let's see. So the doctor has 4 to 6. Servant, you have 2 to 4. The writer has 2 to 5. All right, so let's start with Val.
Okay.
See, that's going to be a D3.
Sorry, I already rolled.
Oh, that's fine. No, go ahead.
Yeah. We can
Do you
roll
want me to
on
roll
roll 20.
Oh yeah, I'll roll 20.
2, 3,
I
4,
forgot.
5. So a D3 for Val and LB and a D4 for Sid.
3.
1. So
Okay.
I guess you're not gonna be my servant because I am fucking poor as shit.
Oh wait, what's your range?
Poor to middle class.
Oh boy.
So you're poor.
Yeah. I mean, we
And
can
so
make
I'm
it so
well-
that, like,
I'm well off, so I've
Yeah.
got like a big house and a business.
So
and-
you might be his servant.
I mean, it
Fine.
could be that I either way, it could be like we could make it work where like I owe you a debt, or like my family owes you a debt, that sort of thing. Like that was big in the era. But again,
Yeah.
I don't mind. I don't care.
Hold on to that for when we talk about history, because I think
Mhm.
that could be interesting. So so Sid, you're poor.
Poor shit.
Well, you're not destitute. That would be worse.
True.
So you live very simply. Most days there's food on the table, but far too little. If you have children, they live in squalor. You might own a change of clothes and a few possessions, but loss of income would be disastrous for you and your family. That's if you have a family. Nope. Then you probably have food and clothes for every day. Hey, you're a writer. Things haven't changed that much.
No, not really, have they? Not really at all.
Val, where are you at?
Well off.
Well off. All right. So you have a big home or apartment. You probably have multiple sources of income and several employees. You do not think of money as a scarce resource, but as a game to increase your capital and influence. You keep fine company and have little contact with the poor, except for your one poor
hate
friend.
each other.
Your family can go on vacations. You can afford the latest innovations. So you have your practice, whatever your sort of practice is, you would have the sort of latest medical equipment, that kind of thing. Probably good for a doctor. LB, what you got?
I rolled a 4. So I am financially stable.
Okay, so we've got sort of one
I
from
own my
each,
own
except
home.
none of you are filthy rich. All right, yeah, financially stable. You own your own home. You have a job that provides a steady income. You're a servant. This makes sense. Most likely you have some money stashed away. Occasionally you treat yourself. In times of crisis, you have either family or friends that could lend you money. So you're kind of in between on that level.
Is there a place on the sheet for this that I'm not seeing?
Is there? I haven't looked.
There's
I'll
a
be
place that
muted
says
if you're talking.
So under your attributes, there is a place that says resources, and you just put a number in.
Oh, okay. So I just put a 6.
Yeah, like what is it? In Neon Souls, how you had in the sprawl, I think you just had like a number of resources. Is that right?
Okay.
Maybe.
Sure. I didn't know if that was something like if that was like an in-game currency or something, or if we put.
No, it's just the level of resources that you have essentially. Okay. Let us do. No, we'll do mementos later. Has everyone named their character? So I want to start talking about them in terms of names. All right. Well, we'll keep going around. We'll start with Sid. What have you named your
Her
writer?
name is Tilda Grunberg, spelled Gronberg, but it's apparently pronounced Grunberg.
Sure. All right.
Tilda.
And she is she her pronouns?
She, her pronouns.
Okay. If you guys could just like stick those somewhere on your sheet, even if that's just in the bio, just for overlay purposes, so we have them. Val?
Dr. Danni Madsen.
Okay.
They
Literally got mad in the name there. That's not concerning at all. And they them pronouns for Dr.
Yes.
Madsen.
Yeah, Danny spelled Danni.
Okay. Great. So we have Tilda and Danny. LB, you've typed something that I'm not going to try to pronounce.
Her name is Villiblom, or Villy, as a nickname. Her last name is Linsdautry. I don't know. I just picked the character's last name from Eurovision that Demi Lovato played.
Ah,
that one. I doubt
sure.
I can change it if that's too complicated.
Oh no, it's fine.
It's Lynn's Chris Daughtry, so Lynn's Daughtry. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So we've got Tilda, Danny, and Villiblom. I like that name a lot.
It means wildflower in Icelandic.
Villiblom. That's very nice. All right. So we got Villy, Tilda, and Danny. And Villy, what pronouns
She,
are
any.
you using? Okay.
And
Great.
I'm sorry, it's Dr. Madsen did not go to medical school to be referred to as Danny.
Did you go to medical school?
Wait, is this another Hicks situation?
No, I mean, well, apprenticed and or whatever the.
Do they ask
That's
people
funny.
to call them doctor, or do they ask them to call them Danny?
Doctor. Refer to them as doctor. Friends can say Danny, but everyone else should be.
Okay,
doctor.
well, I'm the Gia, and I'm gonna use everybody's first name.
You're not my friend.
I'm your god.
I am your god.
God is not my friend.
Not in this era.
Especially not for me.
That's actually we should probably talk about that at some point. It's like I don't know exactly what, like, if there was a school, if you received a license, or if this is just apprenticeship at this point. I assume I'd have a title of doctor, but
It depends on what sort of care you're working in, because once you get into palliative care, there start being actual like schools of medicine.
I'd like
we
to
can
say
say
they actually
those
went
are
to school, but
okay. So they would do probably a couple of years of schooling and then do an apprenticeship and then sort of form their own practice. So you can have an actual like a certificate
framed on their wall.
of some kind. All right, Dr. Madsen. There was something else that I was going to add to the medical care thing. Oh no, it was when you said you were trained in stealth, but I think I know what you're getting at, so I don't want to spoil it for anybody. So I'll keep that part of the medical history of the 19th century to myself for now, and see if I'm right later on. Okay. We've done attribute points, resources. Okay, now everybody is gonna pick a talent. So these are listed in Laybook. I'll give you a page number just a second. But so you've essentially got, I think everybody's got 3 they can choose from. So under your archetype again. So for example, the doctors, I see talents say Army Medic, Chief Physician, Emergency Medicine. We're gonna go to the talents chapter of the book, and you're going to pick 1 from that list. So this is chapter 4. If you've downloaded the PDF, it's in the bookmarks, but the talents start on page 49 of the PDF, and they are split up by archetype. So you've got your 3 talents. The doctors are Army Medic, Chief Physician, and Emergency Medicine. The servants are loyal, tough as nails, and robust. The writers are automatic writing, journalist, and a wordsmith. So from your list of 3, you're all going to pick 1. Some of them give you extra dice to your dice pool if you roll with them. Some of them let you like ignore conditions, or like they give you like a once per session sort of move where you can like ask the game master something, that kind of thing. So they're essentially like a special ability that you have that you can call upon. So go ahead and look over those. And I will say, oh, thank you for the clips in the chat. If you all have any questions about the game or anything like that, feel free to ask them. The game, the setting, anything like that, and we'll throw out answers to those as we go along. I love this clip of Valdis yelling, "God is not my friend." That's good.
That's going on the highlight reel.
Hell yeah.
So I guess I'll go through mine if you guys have any input. I gained +2 on fear tests, which I'm not sure what they are. In the presence of someone you have sworn to protect.
So a fear test is essentially a roll. There are a few I don't want to use the word conditions because conditions is a thing, but there are a few like status things essentially that you would have to roll against. So like fear effects, like poison, things like that. If you think of them in like D&D terms, like you would be making a saving throw against fear. But it's called a test in this. So essentially I would ask you to roll a fear test. And if you rolled enough successes, you would not be afraid in that scenario. Okay. And fear, it essentially hinders you moving forward.
Is that something that's going to come up often?
Depending on the Vaesen.
Okay.
You are dealing with supernatural creatures.
True.
So.
Because my other one that I'm thinking about taking is gain +2 to force when fighting unarmed. And just have my character be like...
She's gonna be a goddamn, like, Greco-Roman wrestler.
Hell
Like...
yeah. And the last one is robust. You may ignore penalties for physical conditions on 1 roll per game session.
Oh.
Which sounds awesome. But I feel like it's kind of like the build trait where I'm gonna... Or not the build trait, but where, like, where I'll, like, no, okay, I won't use it now. And then, for me personally, I'll just, like...
And then you just never use it for that session.
Yeah. So I'm
You know,
thinking...
it's an easy fix to that. Use it.
No, because
The first time you get to do it.
What if I
Use
want
it.
to put it somewhere else later?
You get it back every session. Use it.
So yeah, that's what I was thinking. Unless you guys have any other input on that.
No, that sounds dope. Do it.
With the go with the robust one.
No. Going
Or
with
Toughest
nails +2 to
I like
force,
that.
Or
Heck yeah.
or the loyal one.
Well,
I
I think
just
that
want her to
fits
look
well.
like this, like, such an unassuming person, and
Mm-hmm.
then you just whip her out and, like, whoa! It's gonna be amazing. I'm really excited.
Either that,
that-
or just like full like Armstrong, like massive,
Yeah.
but like in a
Yes.
neat like butler's like uniform and stuff, no weapons or anything. you
Barely
just punch him
gets
in the face.
into a butler's uniform.
Yeah.
'Cause she's
So
so
just
strong.
for y'all's purposes, just for how that would work, that +2 is +2 dice that you get to roll.
Ooh.
For
Okay.
that. So
Yeah,
to
I'm
answer
down
the
with that.
question in the chat, what dice does the system use? This is a dice pool game. It's all D6s, and you basically build a pool from your attributes and your skills and from your talents, telling you how many D6s you get to roll, and then any 6 on a D6 is a success. Is how the rolling works in this game. All right. Talent thoughts.
Okay, so there are some interesting options on mine as well. So this sounds pretty cool. Wordsmith, which I'm gathering to mean like I can still write no matter how bad off I am. So it'd be I would ignore penalties from conditions when making inspiration tests because I can.
I guess I can explain conditions.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Has
'Cause
everyone
one of
here
mine's
played
similar.
Masks?
Yes.
I've
No.
watched it a lot.
If you've played Masks, then this is essentially the same thing. So you have, with conditions, you essentially have, let's look at them on the sheet real quick. Oh, what the heck did I do with Roll20? I have so much stuff pulled up. Okay, so let's take a look at your character sheet. You've got physical conditions and mental conditions. They are exhausted, battered, wounded. The mental conditions are angry, frightened, and hopeless, and then you have broken underneath each of them. So if you fail a roll, or there are some other circumstances, we'll get into like the dice rolling rules and stuff, but essentially if you fail at something, if you do very poorly at something, I can ask you to choose a condition. If you were doing a physical task, it'll be one of the physical ones. If you were doing a mental task, it'll be one of the mental ones. For every condition you have checked under either physical or mental, for any dice that you would roll, any dice pool that you're building under your physical stats or your mental stats, you lose 1. And the conditions stack. So for example, if I'm asking you to roll empathy, which is a mental stat, and you've been having a really bad day and you have both like angry and hopeless marked, you would build your dice pool and then you would have to take 2 away for those conditions. If you check all 3 conditions under one of these and then you gain another condition, you are considered broken. You're completely incapacitated. You cannot make any rolls. You cannot do any skill tests. You basically cannot do anything until that condition is cured. And there are ways to cure them and to get rid of them and things like that through both medicine and like doing scenes and things like that. But so that's how conditions work. If you do bad things happen to you, and then you roll worse. It's really kind of like how I explain it. But so if you're familiar with masks or like anything like that, they essentially function the same way. The great thing about these character sheets is that once you check a condition, if you're rolling from the character sheet, it'll just roll it all in. But so anything that lets you ignore conditions is essentially keeping you from having to take dice out of your pool before you roll. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That seemed important to explain in this moment.
So that would be good.
It would be good.
But they also give the option of something called automatic writing, which is when channeling spirits through automatic writing, you can use inspiration to gain clues. The Game Master provides more or less vague clues, predictions about the future, or momentary insights into the thoughts and experiences of your enemies. Extra successes can reveal more clues. On a failure, the Game Master decides whether you suffer a condition, become possessed, or undergo a personality change that lasts for 1d6 rounds. You can use automatic writing once per game session.
So you're a medium.
I could be a fucking medium.
So you could be a spirit medium. That's wild.
Yeah.
I love that.
That could be really fucking dope.
And this is once per session?
Once per session.
You can do? Dang, that's really cool.
I think I want to do that just because it's so fucking cool, but I think it could also be really useful. And it kind of goes with what I'd already picked for my trauma. So I like it.
Okay, so automatic writing then. Oh, chat says, nah, Sid, you're no medium, you're top tier.
Stop it.
Oh,
love you guys. You're so nice to me.
But the rest of you are just medium.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely joking. Val, what you thinking?
Okay, so
Or
the
the
three I get to
doctor.
choose. Some of mine are kind of similar to the other two, where I had either Army Medic, which is +2 to fear tests when frightened by dead or damaged human bodies, which would make a lot of sense, I think, for my character based on what I'm thinking, but I don't know if that's where I want to go. Emergency medicine, you ignore mental conditions when using medicine, but the one I think I'm going to go with is Chief Physician. When you use medicine to treat other player characters, they heal a total of 4 conditions instead of 3. The same applies to extra successes, which I don't know what that last part means.
So extra successes. So if you're familiar with Tales from the Loop and that kind of thing, I don't know if you remember when we played this, but so when you roll your dice, most tasks, like 90% of tasks, you need 1 success to complete. If something is particularly difficult, you might need 2. If something is almost impossible, you might need 3. But so whenever you're rolling for a task, every 6 on a d6 is a success. If you roll more 6s than you need to, you can spend those 6s on other things. So you can like give that dice to a friend so they can also succeed on the task, or you can use them for like extra benefits and things like that. So anything that's extra successes, those don't just go to waste. You get to like spend them on things.
Okay, so it sounds to me, based on what this is saying, is normally if you use medicine on another player character, you heal them 3 conditions.
3 conditions.
I would
So you
get
could
a
do
baseline
4.
of 4 and then additional if I get additional successes.
Exactly.
And the most conditions that anyone can have at any time is 6.
It
Or
would
broken,
technically,
unless...
yeah, it would technically be 8 with broken.
Okay.
All
right.
Broken takes some very specific things to heal, but yeah. So essentially, you can use medicine to heal conditions. You can heal 3 conditions. If you have extra successes, you can spend them to heal another condition. This would give you a baseline of 4, and then you could use the extra successes to heal past that.
Yeah. So I guess I'm going between that and emergency medicine, so like emergency medicine lets me ignore mental conditions only, but I wouldn't have to worry about that penalty.
Only when using medicine.
Only
though.
when using, yeah.
You don't ignore them completely.
I'll go with Chief Physician. That one sounds fun.
I like it.
Just make myself a better healer.
All right. So we've all picked a talent. Let us do our motivations. All right, let me go back up to motivations.
Sorry, I zoned out a little bit, and I 100% am just picking out outfits right now.
She distracted me.
Well, come back.
She sent me links to Victorian blouses, and now I'm completely derailed.
Well, come back because we're gonna talk about your character's motivation.
Everyone's got to get a yabo. For
all right,
chat,
so
that's that little ruffle thing that they wear.
this thing, the very fancy ascot.
Mm-hmm.
So under your archetype, there are 3 options for your motivation. I want to sort of go through and have everyone pick their motivation, and then I want you to elaborate on it a little bit. You don't have to go into a ton of detail, but I do want you to tell us sort of why you picked that motivation, sort of how you see this influencing your character. I want to know why you picked what you picked is really what it is. So you've got 3 to choose from. These are a great starting point. Obviously, I'm not asking you to like flesh out an entire backstory right here, right now. That's going to be part of your homework. But I want to talk a little bit about these so we can start to get to know these people a little bit more than just their mechanical things.
So we do pick like the basis from one of those 3, but we
Yeah,
can
we have to
flesh it
pick one of
out.
those 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you pick one of those 3. But then we will we'll flesh those out as we go along.
Okay. I'm leaning towards protecting my master. Whomever that may be. Because
Okay.
I think protecting in general is going to be their
Jam.
motivation. Yeah. Like taking care of people.
Chat would like everyone to take a water break, which I'm doing.
Okay. I actually have water.
I don't have water.
I'm surprised.
I left it in the car.
Ugh. Is it warm there right now? I just because it's warm here. I just picture
It's not
gross
bad.
water.
Yeah. No, it was like 65 today. It's good.
Wow.
That's lovely.
Mm-hmm. Nice and simple.
Chat. Ugh, that warm car water.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not gonna,
We
I'm
all
not
know
gonna
what
get
that's
it.
like.
Not
And
gonna
then
go
you
get it.
think you're gonna drink it anyway, and then you just like try, and then you're like, oh,
Nope.
oh,
I'm good.
no, it's not happening. All right, so our servant is going with protecting their master, which makes sense. We'll flesh that out a bit more. What about our other 2? Got a writer and a doctor.
I think I'm gonna go finding a certain basin for
Okay.
reasons.
For reasons. I like it. So we'll flesh out what that basin is, which I have a great list of things. You're also welcome to pick something from lore, but we can talk about that, flesh that out. So our writer, our investigative journalist, wants to find a certain basin. How about you, Doctor?
The closest one, so it's interesting how little these apply to medicine, but I think the closest one I can think of is exploring and describing the world.
Okay.
But not necessarily the physical world. I'm more thinking of like medical care. And
Medical care in general.
Yeah. Because the way that originally read to me is like, I want to go out into the wilderness and look at stuff, but like that's not where I really want to go with that.
That makes total sense. All right, I like these. So note those down on your sheet. So everyone has their motivation. We're going to flesh those out more in some things that I have to give you later. Because now we're going to get into the stuff that I'm very excited about, which is our trauma and our dark secret. So we've
so
decided
excited about our trauma, guys. So excited.
So we're just real excited about our trauma. We've decided as a group, we talked about this a little bit beforehand, that for our traumas and our dark secrets, we're going to go ahead and talk about these on stream. We're going to talk about these as a group. So these are going to be player knowledge, but they are going to be secret to the characters. So we're going to have character secrets, but we're going to have things sort of open between the players so we can talk about these and people can sort of role play in a way that is leaning into these, maybe in ways that their characters don't know about, but that their players do. I think that's great. So we're going to go ahead and talk about our trauma. So once again, you've got a list of 3 sort of very strange and vague things you can pick from. The doctor's list is my favorite, personally, out of all of these. But so I would like for everyone to pick a trauma. And again, we will flesh these out in some backstory homework.
I love that the doctors are so like intense, and then the servants is bitten by a brook horse.
They're so specific too.
Yeah.
They're very specific, but they leave so much vague room for like, but why?
Right.
Why?
May I negotiate for one made up? Because I had a really good idea.
Sure. What have you made up?
I made up that she was told how she would die by a dead body.
Oh shit.
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
Yes.
I argue for a Black Widow situation from the movies where my character was physically protecting someone and was stabbed through, and their person they were protecting was killed. So they have a gnarly scar.
Ooh. For your trauma?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have it. Make shit up. By all means.
You said for your trauma, and the captioner said Futurama.
Futurama.
Futurama?
Yeah, so we're going to have to talk about who you were serving before. So think about that one.
I can't not go with one of the ones on the doctor's list.
The doctor's list, can you just read the doctor's list? Because it is fucking wild.
I'll read the first 2 that I'm not picking, and I'll go with the one that I am going to pick.
Okay.
So there's operated on a person with donkey's ears and hooves.
Just like straight up Midsummer.
Yeah. There's saw your destiny in the eyes of a dying mermaid.
Again, what?
And the one I'm gonna go with is a corpse came back to life during an autopsy.
That is the one I hoped
it.
you were gonna pick. All right.
I read that one, and then I read bitten by a horse, and I was like, wait.
I was really tempted by
traumatic.
I was really tempted by saw your destiny in the eyes of a dying mermaid, but the first one really really spoke to me.
Now, an interesting question from the chat. Is this the same corpse that told Sid how her character was going to die?
Ooh.
Oh
that
my
would
god.
Maybe
That would be fucking bananas.
We could tie all 3 of these together. It was
We're a
the
bunch of
person-
bananas.
It was the person that LB was trying to protect, had a relationship with Sid, or some reason Sid's character was there during the autopsy to either like document it or like to something, and then
to talk to the doctor about the mysterious circumstances surrounding the death of this dead person.
Yes.
The dead
And
person
then-
got up during the autopsy and then told her how she died.
Yeah. I love it.
Get players who write your mysteries for you. Can somebody write that? Okay, hold on. I guess I'm the one that's supposed to be writing that down.
All right. So,
All right.
LB's servants,
Yeah.
LB's
previous
old master
Okay.
died.
was killed,
Stabbed through.
stabbed through.
Dr. Madsen, Val's character, performing
Perform
autopsy.
the autopsy.
Are we? I'm writing this down. Are we sticking to this story?
Yes.
Is this our story?
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay. Performing autopsy. Corpse wakes up. Tells Tilda.
Who is there to talk to the doctor about the mysterious circumstances of the death,
How she is going to die.
how she's going to die.
And then what?
And then
What did you do?
And then we had to put
screamed a
him
lot.
down.
screamed
Yeah.
a lot, and then the then
Really?
the body just like went limp. Like after
Okay.
and
So
then
it didn't stay alive?
it didn't stay.
Oh,
Okay,
was
did
just
it
like
not
a
stay
death.
alive because it like died again, or did it not stay alive because you guys killed it? Because you said
I'm okay with Billy having to put them down and adding to that trauma.
Yes.
See,
Like
I-
grab the
Oh.
hat.
I kind of like the idea of
The double
whatever it
trauma.
was. It wasn't the person. Like it was some sort of vason that took over the dead
Oh.
body.
Like possession or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
like a possession.
Yeah,
Because
so they just
I
like,
want that to be her. That's her motivation. It's like
Okay.
I
Now,
need to
if
track
you-
this son of a bitch down and talk to them and be like, well, what the hell did you mean? That's how I die.
now if you want to add that to your trauma for Billy, we can say both.
Oh shit.
sure, yeah.
It can
Yeah,
be
yeah.
both. I mean, it can be so the body was
Had to
possessed
Re-kill them.
by
Or you
So
saw
sad.
your master who you had failed to protect come back to life.
Yeah.
Some
And then
sort of
die
vason,
again.
Yeah. So that would mean that we all heard, unless it was just in Tilda's head. Is that
I
okay
like
if
this
we all
idea of-
heard it?
Or-
what
or
would you
if she wants
prefer,
to-
Sid?
Yeah, that's a good question.
There's so many possibilities for both.
Yeah.
Do you want to think on it?
Let's
I'm
think
gonna
about
think
it.
about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
'Cause
write.
there's the
who
possibility that just, like,
knows?
Lurched up, grabbed you, like whispered something in your ear, and
Mhm.
then keeled back over.
Right. I wrote a bunch of asterisks and who knows. So we'll think about that one.
Because that could
Wow,
be really
guys.
cool if everyone heard it and it was super fucking cryptic
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no one knows what it means.
and no one fucking knows what it means.
think about it.
I'm gonna think about it.
We'll think about it. All
Okay,
right.
but
That's
are
your-
we saying that Billy had to like physically like? kill them
that's
again?
Oh yeah, because they came up and like
Up to you.
started fucking choking her or something,
Okay,
and then you had to put
okay.
them down.
you
Yeah.
want to do that?
Yeah.
That
yeah,
would be dope.
Yeah.
I mean, there'd be all sorts of things in the room to put a
Yeah.
body back down.
You have a ton of. I
Don't
mean,
need
you're
it. Don't
well
need
off.
it.
You have a ton of stuff. All right, and then
Saws and
had.
I like the idea
to
you just like
kill.
decapitated the body after.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've got that story. Let me just put that in bold text
Yeah.
because that's amazing, and we'll get Morgan's character in here somehow. Hell yes.
This music just makes it even better.
Trauma. Camera is out of focus. All right.
So that means
So
we
everyone
all,
has
like,
a
developed
trauma.
our sight at the same time then, because that trauma is like
Uh,
what gave us the sight, or
Well, not necessarily.
okay,
Your trauma does not have to be what gave you the sight. It can be. What gave you the sight can be some sort of traumatic incident. It can be your trauma if you want it to be. That could be the first time that you realized you had the sight. Some people are born with it. So I'm gonna leave that up to all of you to decide. Sort of once we've built these characters and we do this this kind of backstory work that I want to do. I want you to include that in that when you get the site. It can be this event if you would like it to be, but it doesn't have to be.
Seems pretty appropriate though.
I'm
Mhm.
thinking that Billy has
appropriate.
had this from the start,
I think she's
or for a very long time.
always had it.
Kept quiet about it. Yeah.
I'm definitely thinking this is the moment that
This did it.
Danny developed.
I think getting
That
told by
did
a dead
it?
person you're gonna die is kind of
Okay.
yeah.
Like lived a life
I
of
like
like
that.
science and not like
Mhm.
believing in any of that shit, and then like a bunch of superstitious townfolk, and then seeing this, and then having that like mental breakdown, lots of alcohol.
Mm-hmm. They all have to walk. I kind of like the idea that and we could talk with Morgan's character about this too, but like Billy having to sit them down and like explain what's going on.
Oh yeah, that like mentorship role.
Mhm.
Oh wow, I like that a lot. All right, let's do
Though I will
No.
say it would be wild if we have to retcon this slightly, and Morgan's character was the one that died and then came back to life
Oh my
with some
god!
sort of cryptic vision.
god!
But I'm just
wanna
saying
know
it
what
doesn't
she's
have to be.
saying.
Hold
that
on to
way.
that.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit!
Morgan, if you're out there still
Definitely-
listening, that's just it's a fun.
Morgan, that would be so
possibility.
dope, but you can do whatever you want.
Definitely hold on to that. I was gonna say let's do one more and then take a break, but our next one is our dark secret, and I know you guys are gonna want to talk about that. So let's go ahead and take our
Yes.
break, because we're about halfway through right now. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us so far. I hope you're having as much fun as we are, because I love doing this kind of thing. I freaking love character creation and session zeros and stuff. So thanks for hanging out with us again. If you have any questions or anything like that, think about them over the break, pop them in the chat. We'll answer them as we go. But yeah, take a quick break, get something to drink, get some water, stretch, all of that good stuff. And we'll be back in just a quick few minutes to talk about our dark secrets. So stick around. And welcome back, Internet. Thank you for hanging out with us during our break. I hope you are refreshed and ready to go, because we definitely are. If you are just joining us now, this is our session 0 for our new show, Thursday's Children. We're playing Vaesen, and we are about to choose our dark secrets. So just like everything else, every archetype has a little list that you can choose from for your dark secret. If you have come up with something else, you're also welcome to do that, as always. I will say, just to reiterate, we have decided that these are going to be player knowledge, but not character knowledge. So as players, we're going to talk about these, sort of flesh them out a little bit, decide kind of what our dark secret is. And then as players, we're going to let that influence our characters' roleplay. However, the characters will not know each other's dark secrets. So who knows what they want their dark secret to be?
She's wanted for revolutionary ideas.
Oh,
I
of
like
course,
that.
she's a writer.
Indeed.
It's an interesting place to pick up. So philosophy wise, and like political movement wise, you have so many things
Well,
that you
as
can
she's
choose
a poor
from.
writer, I'm sure we can imagine where
As
this
she's a
might
poor
line
writer,
up.
you can pull from all kinds of things that became popular during the 19th century. I mean, the reform movements were extremely popular here. This is when we're getting into women's suffrage and things like that, so you can pull from that. I mean, philosophy wise, Marxism was a whole thing. All kinds of stuff. You've got pragmatism, you've got transcendentalism, social Darwinism. There's a whole freaking list of things you can that you could choose from. But yeah, so she's wanted for revolutionary ideas. Wanted by who?
I think for practical purposes, such as Sid cannot do a Scandinavian accent, somewhere in England might be a good idea.
Okay. And just come to Scandinavia
I just came to Scandinavia.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Totally for work reasons.
absolutely for work reasons.
Totally.
And not for my player character cannot.
Totally for work
Okay.
reasons, and definitely would never get in trouble because there's a very, very large church presence in the place that you live. That would never happen.
God is my enemy.
Is that your dark secret?
No, it's not.
God
I've
is
met
your
with
enemy?
God, they're my enemy. I fucking hate them.
Are you good?
I good.
I have an idea,
Okay.
and it's something that you can use as a DM. But I
Oh,
don't know.
is it?
I don't.
Is it
I mean,
now?
like, no. I mean, like, it is something that, like, here, take this trauma that you could then use on me later. But I don't know which way I want to go with it. I'm thinking that Billy killed a tribe, a family, or a group of Vesson that were good. And, like, because one of the things is, like, you murdered someone, and I'm like, I feel like that's not very
Sure.
secretive. Yeah. So I think doing something like that, my thought process is, was it on purpose? Like, it was on purpose. She meant to kill them, but was it vengeful, or was it because she didn't
Was it like
know?
malicious?
Yeah, was it malicious, or did she do it because she didn't know that not all Vesson are bad? I'm trying to figure that out.
That's up to you.
Because having her just be a cold-blooded, like, they did something and she felt like they needed to die, that would be... Or then you go through the she's trying to repent thing.
You had said that you were aiming to have her have, I mean, she's been able to see them for a long time,
Yeah.
so that could definitely play into that. Like,
Yeah.
she's seen them do, you know, some of them do terrible things for so long,
Yeah.
she just, like, snapped and did something.
There's a
like,
there's a word that I'm trying to think of and I can't think of it. It's like she killed some Vaesen that were good before she recognized, like,
Mhm.
the word that keeps coming up in my brain is minutia, and it's not minutia, but like before she knew the difference. There's a word that I'm trying to think of. It's driving me nuts.
like the spectrum?
No. What am I trying to say?
I don't know.
It's like before she recognized the details of everything.
Oh, before she realized there was more complexity to it?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
There's a word I'm thinking of, but
Okay.
we'll use that one.
Uh,
Nuance. Jesus,
Nuance.
thank
There we
you.
go.
uh-huh.
Thank you,
so
chat.
what is the what term should I use? A tribe, a family, a group? What of, like, are, I mean, it could be a family. Does it matter in game terms?
I'm gonna stay away from the word tribe just because of the implications of that.
Yes,
but
yeah.
group or family or anything like that will
Okay.
will work.
Okay. I'll
Yes,
say
the
a family.
nuance of the situation is what I was trying to say. Thank you. I knew somebody would get me there. All right. And Val, God is your enemy. Yes?
No. Well, kind of.
So they're not your enemy. Ha-ha! No, just, sorry.
Kind of. Probably. But that's not specifically it. Mine is, I'm going to choose the descriptor unnatural lust. But the way that I am sort of flavoring it is more of a lust for, like, knowledge and understanding and things like that. Because the reason why I took stealth is that I think they grave rob. Everyone figured it out before I got there, but yeah.
The Resurrection Men.
Yeah, because I did a lot of research into, or Googling into like anatomy laws in the 19th century, and that bodies were really hard to come by for medical practice and experimentation. So yeah, has resorted to robbing graves and battlefields and things like that for bodies.
Again, if you're interested in medical history, read about the Resurrection Men, read about grave robbing and all that stuff. It's very, very, very interesting, very intense, and also kind of hilarious at times. There's a great episode of Sawbones about it too, if you like podcasts. But yeah. All right, an unnatural lust for knowledge.
So God is probably my enemy.
Oh, God is super your enemy. The church is not gonna be pleased with all of this stuff that you've going on. All right, that's our. Anything else anybody would like to add or flesh out a little bit more about their dark secrets? Those are good. These are good secrets.
No, I think that covers it.
Okay.
I mean, I need to kind of pick what her revolutionary ideas are.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Yeah, we got time for that.
They're gonna be along the lines of like socioeconomic things.
Sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. All right. So we're going to get into just my favorite part. It's my favorite part of any character building ever. It's relationships. That's right. You're going to choose a relationship for each other player character or make up your own. I'm going to trust all of you to write these down so I can then compile a big list of them later. So write down the relationships that you have with other people. So once again, you've got a list. Most of these are pretty vague. So I'd like to start with sort of like the vague concept and then flesh them out. So because there are going to be 4 of you, we will use all of them. Again, if you want to come up with something that's not on the list, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and do the 3 of you, and then we will wrap Morgan's character sort of into these over the course of the week before we start. So I'm gonna give you all a second to look at them, to look at your list, and to look back on what we've written so far. And then I just want to go around in our circle and have you pick one for the other 2 and tell me why.
Okay, this gets tricky for me because if I'm Morgan's servant, then I need to know more. But if I'm Sid's servant, or if I
can't be my
Val's
servant, I am fucking poor.
Well, again, we can. If you want to do something, we can do it where I owe you a life debt or something like that. Like,
I will say, let's work with what we have at the table right now. Without Morgan's character, because I don't want to speculate on her behalf.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there.
I mean, at the very least, you're none of our like servant, like in title, and your prior master like died.
Yeah. Okay. Because it does. Yeah, mine are at your service. So that doesn't necessarily mean like I am your servant. So I think. Okay, what are your characters' personalities that you're thinking about so far?
Outspoken suffragette, I think, pretty much sums it up.
Because mine are very like my things are very like I either like you or I don't like you, sort of things.
The word that first comes to mind is anachronistic, but I don't know if that's exactly what I'm going for. I obviously thought like they're well off, they're successful, but I think they're kind of reclusive with their work. Like they spend a lot of time studying, practicing, researching, that sort of thing, which requires like sneaking off and doing things because of the bodies. So I don't know if they'd necessarily like, they wouldn't enjoy having somebody around, but they like would need somebody around to take care of them. So, but that doesn't have to be you.
Yeah, I'm sure, because, like, again, mine are either at your service, I don't take orders from you, or mutual respect. So I don't want to, like, put that upon somebody, I don't take orders from you, like, which is very, like, you can tell me what to do all you want, but I don't take orders from you, sort of deal. I don't know, you guys go first.
Let's see.
If anybody has a thought, we'll start there and then we'll go around.
I know that Sid, you had made the comment about being like, and like our characters having some sort of like antagonistic
On
relationship.
principle, she would probably hate your character. Like, maybe having nothing to do with personality, but just on the basis that they are a well-off individual for sort of the revolutionary ideas I'm thinking about.
Yeah, because the three of mine, as they're on the book, are I trust you with my secrets, you annoy me, and I dream of you at night.
Hate each other, but interested in each other.
That's kind of
That
what
could
I was
be
thinking.
fun.
Enemies to lovers.
Enemies to lovers. I'm all about it. You know I am.
Yeah, I kind because my first instinct was like, I'll go with the you annoy me one, but I feel like it's more interesting if like there's something deeper than the like mutual, like the antagonistic like surface level. Okay, I'm gonna go with that dream of you at night for what's your character's name again?
Tilda.
Tilda.
And there's a lot of places that where that could go, not necessarily like in a kind of way.
Oh, totally.
It could be I dream of murdering you.
Yeah, it could be I dream that you murder me. I dream of you murder me.
Because with
Coming
my
this
character,
fall
I
to
dream of your
ABC.
body kind of gives a whole different circumstance.
Yeah.
No, but not like that. I think there's a place to work there. All right, so Tilda.
Tilda, I dream of you at night. All right, well then let's go to Tilda.
See, mine are very straightforward. They are, you inspire me, you frighten me, or I try to win your appreciation.
I mean, the "you frighten me" thing seems like it works really well for Danni, but
Either,
But
I mean,
also,
honestly,
it works
either
for
Billy. It works for Billy,
Billy,
and
too.
it works for Danny, which is hilarious. I think I'll go inspire. You inspire me with Billy. Cause yeah, you just, does Billy identify as a woman?
Yeah, so what
Okay.
I was thinking is when Villy is in uniform, she's very female presenting. When she's out in the world, very like blazers, like rough looking, could be any.
Love it. Yes, inspiring. Just doing her thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
And
let's have one from Billy.
I think it's gonna make more sense if I okay. I think it's gonna make more sense if I am at Danny, Dr. Dan. What's your last name? Danny
Madsen.
Madsen. At their service.
That works because that also works with the one that I was thinking for Villy. Well, how does Villy spelled, by the way?
It is Villi.
Okay. Because the one I want to go for Villy is you annoy me.
Okay.
For the reason of, like, if you're there's, like, I don't need you. Like, you don't have to help me. Like, please don't. Like, leave me in peace. Because I imagine Villy as being more like, you know, the servant, like, the dutiful kind of like, how can I help? Like, what do you need? Like, that sort of thing.
I'm thinking they're probably just. I think I'm gonna play them more like Watson, where they're just kind of there.
Yeah.
And like
them
giving
being
you
there
things. Yeah.
is a
Like,
problem.
I know you're you haven't had water in about 2 hours, so I'm gonna bring you water. Like that sort of like forcing like and not taking any crap. I can yes, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And I think that makes sense. And I think then that easily translates because Tilda does not have a lot of income. I'm going to say, I don't take orders from you.
Makes sense to me.
Makes total sense to me. All right. Who do we have left?
I do need to do one for Danny.
So you need one for Dr. Danny.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think which one. I mean, you frightens me makes a lot of sense.
It does.
But I like the idea too of like on principle, she fucking hates your face, but like deep down also wants your appreciation, like wants you to see her as, you know, like I may be poor, but I have worth. That sort of thing too. So
I do like that.
I like that a lot.
So like very secretly tries to win your appreciation. I like that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, there's our relationships. Most of our relationships. We will get the rest of them as we can over the rest of this week. Okay, the next step is a thing that I'm very excited for. We will do equipment and mementos. So let's go ahead and everybody note down your equipment. So most of you have a list. I think all of you have a list. And there are a couple of things that you need to choose between. So this is in that same box with your main attribute, your main skill, your resources, all of that. So for example, because it's the page I'm on, the writers, you have writing utensils and paper, a camera or opera glasses,
And
a pet dog, or a book collection. So the ones that say or, pick between the two. Everybody decide what you want.
A dog, dude, come on.
Everybody decide what you want. We'll go through them very quickly so you all can tell me what you start out with. Obviously, you want a dog.
I mean, obviously.
One of my choices just makes me laugh. One of my choices
is it weak horse or strong poison?
Yeah.
That's really good.
Those were not two things that I thought I'd have to choose between.
Choose
horse
between them.
or poison. I'm gonna go with the horse though, because it
Weak
makes
horse.
sense for carrying bodies.
Okay. So you've also got a doctor's bag with medical equipment.
And I chose liquor over fine wine
Okay.
for anesthetic
Purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
have a revolver.
Okay.
I have either a hurricane lamp or makeup. I feel like a hurricane lamp makes more sense. And
Okay.
then a field kitchen or simple bandages. I don't think I'll need simple bandages. So, field kitchen.
Field kitchen. Okay. So the ability to cook.
I have writing utensils and paper. I'm gonna go camera.
Okay. It's a little more modern.
And come on, I have to have a dog. I
Okay.
have to have a dog, of course.
So you've already got 2 pets and we haven't even started.
2 pets.
What's the other pet?
Val, can you decide you have a horse?
A horse.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
the horse. Oh, okay.
A weak horse, though.
A weak horse,
This is
which
Not a horse
I don't know if
that
there's.
can carry a bunch of things.
Are there like mechanics for the things, or is it just like pure flavor descriptors? Okay.
Nah, this is mostly flavor descriptors. This is just a horse that cannot carry all of your shit.
Yeah.
Essentially. The other thing we want to do is, let me get back to the table. We're going to roll for mementos. So this is fun. A thing that I've never encountered in a game before, but there is a button on your character sheets for it because you're going to need to roll for this and then also for injuries and things a D66, which I do love. So it would essentially be rolling 2 D6s one at a time. It's a D100, but with 2 D6s instead of 2 D10s. But so I'm going to get everybody to roll. You can roll from your sheet if you wish. A D66. And I'm going to tell you what your memento is.
I got a 63.
Okay. I'm going to tell you real quick what y'all rolled. So the big numbers.
Is that
So many
good?
big numbers.
Is that bad?
All right, so your memento, the way it's described in the book is part of your character. You can weave it into your personality or your background. You can use it again as an advantage on a roll if you can find a way to incorporate it into what you're rolling, just like your talents and other things. It can be lost, it can be broken. There are ways to get it back. There are also ways to be able to choose a new one. So let's see what your mementos are. Sid, you've got a 63.
Mhm.
It is a rabbit's foot or some other lucky charm.
Okay.
So if you would like it to be something other than a rabbit's foot, that's fine. Otherwise, you have a lucky rabbit's foot.
Can I have a 4-leaf clover in amber?
You can have a 4-leaf clover preserved in amber as a lucky charm. All right, who's next?
Rolled a 46.
A 46. You've got sunstone. In parentheses, cut mineral. So you've got a piece of cut sunstone.
Okay, I have to look up what that is.
It's very pretty. Val, what you got?
56.
Sheet music from a forgotten master. Yay. Mementos. So hang on to those. Try, if you can, to wrap them in when we do the backstories. I see a raised hand in the back. Yes?
Hello, yes. I was just wondering, is sunstone like a rare mineral? Would it be something that was very expensive?
Yes.
Okay.
In this case, yes.
Okie dokie.
This is not something everybody has.
Thank you, miss.
You're welcome. All right. And that, my friends, is our character creation. However, we still have a couple of other things to do because I want to talk about your headquarters, which you do have, and you do have a character sheet for. First things first, I want to name the city that you exist in. There's a name in the book, but I would like to sort of take this and make it our
Viking
own
town names generator
thing.
Up.
So you'll on the Roll20 there's a map. There's also a key. There are several locations that are available to you, including your headquarters. Here, I'll ping some stuff on the map. I know people at home can't see this, but you don't really need to. Which lives right here. So you have your headquarters, the society headquarters. There is a cathedral. There is Central Station over here, which is the train station. There is the university and the hospital that it is attached to. There is also an asylum that is part of this town. There is a botanical gardens, and Sid, of particular interest to you, there is a building called Olympus, which is actually where the local newspaper is run out of. There are other things too. There are poorhouses. There is a police station. There is a particular establishment called Wellspring Street 59, which is a brothel. So lots of interesting places here. You've got different street names and stuff on the map. I'm not super interested in them, except for Wellspring, because there is an actual landmark on that street. But let's name this town. What do you guys want to call this? Well, it's a city, really. What do y'all want to call this city?
Rainier. Reynir. Grimsey. Grimsey. Just calling off ones from name generator that look cool.
I feel like Grimsey kind of fits.
Grim is right there in the name.
Yeah.
The city of Grimsey.
Val?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. So in the city of Grimsey, on the outskirts, sort of outside, you have a headquarters. You all have access to its character sheet, and you all have editing privileges. The headquarters is almost as big as the castle that exists in this city, where the bishop of the church actually lives. There is a large church presence in the city. So do with that information what you will. But over here, sort of on the outskirts of the town, you have a headquarters in an old, half falling apart castle of sorts. And I need to know what you want to call it.
Old falling apart castle, huh?
Just pulling up castle name generator.
Yep. Read my mind.
I looked up what society translates to in Icelandic. I don't know if we want to do that.
Oh God, what?
Hold on. Samfelek.
Try it in Swedish.
Okay. No, that's Swahili. Hold on.
Oh.
Samhele.
Samhele.
Yeah. Samha with 2 dots. LLE. Samhele.
An umlaut.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I love them umlauts. It kind of looks like Samhain, like the holy day, which is kind of fun.
Let's see what else. I always go for where are you?
Wolfshire Citadel.
Shire Citadel.
Whatever we pick, Citadel is at the end. That's fucking
Yeah.
amazing.
Also, a Saltworth. That's a 1, 2.
Okay, none of these are working. Hold on. How about Citadel is the word we're going for?
Yeah, they'll be
That's
at the
in-
end.
yeah.
Citadel at the end.
We could do public confidence Citadel, and confidence meaning secret. Or we could do a circle. We could do circle confidence Citadel. Double C.
Hemlig, Hemlig, is the Swedish word for secret. If we did Hemlig Citadel.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Okay. You guys want to stick with that?
Yeah.
All right. Somebody put it on the sheet. Val, put it on the sheet
Okay.
since you have the spelling.
All right.
And is it Grimsey or Grimsey City or the town of Grimsey or
The city of Grimsey.
the Simsey, the city?
Yes, the city of Grimsey. So this is another part of the game that I wanted to get a little gritty about and talk to you guys about, because I think this is a really fun part of the game. At the end of every session, I will ask you all questions for XP for your individual characters. At the end of every mystery, I will ask you another set of questions under HQ development, and you will gain development points for each question, such as did you do at least one scene at the headquarters? Did you visit a place of magic? Did you solve the mystery? Like those kinds of things. You will get development points, and you can spend those points to upgrade your headquarters. So there's essentially like a base building mechanic to this game, which I really, really love. But you start out with 2 things. One of them is the Society's library, which you have. The asset there is clues can be found here. So you do have a library at your disposal. It is the library of the Society that was the Society before you were the Society. So you have a ton of resources there. You also have a butler who manages your headquarters. And I want to know what you want to name the butler.
Wilhelm.
Wilhelm is good.
Wilhelm.
Is that their first name? Is that their last name? I don't fucking know.
And I
Well, the
fucking
chat-
told you, and I
the
fucking
chat
told you that
immediately-
chat was gonna say Jimothy.
What about Jimothy Wilhelm?
Oh, Jimothy Wilhelm! Yes!
I said
Okay.
before I started this
But we
stream
call
that if they
them-
named the butler Jimothy, that I was gonna fire everyone.
What if? But we call them Wilhelm. Jimothy. We just know that exists out there for our own purposes.
Okay, but my character is also a servant, so we'll refer to them by their first name.
It's Jimothy.
I cannot.
Yes.
I mean, are you okay with that? I don't mind. I'll call him Jim.
Jimothy Wilhelm. I knew this was
Wilhelm.
going to happen to me.
Kaima Jimothy.
Wilhelm.
How do you even spell that?
Timothy Wilhelm. Timothy, but with a J.
Yep.
God, I can't believe
I-
it, guys.
Savannah
Okay,
explicitly
this is-
told me that before the stream, though, that like if anyone calls the
Yeah.
butler Jimothy,
Word of
Okay,
God!
can I have my own headcanon here of like so
I mean, your headcanon is your headcanon.
Jimothy was born and his mother died in childbirth. He was born and went straight to an orphanage. The paperwork for his birth certificate got smudged. His name was going to be Timothy, but it got smudged and looks like Jimothy, and that's what they call him.
Okay. I can't believe you've done this. But we're calling him Jimothy Wilhelm. You all call him Wilhelm, except for Villy, who calls him Jim.
And there's our levity.
And there it is. There it is, folks. So you've got the library. You've got Wilhelm, the butler, who manages the castle, especially while you're gone. Yeah, so as you go along, as you finish mysteries, you will gain development points, and then there's a whole list of things in the book that you can choose from, which we'll get to sort of like the nitty-gritty of. I just think it's really fun. There are facilities you can discover, you can add contacts, you can hire more personnel also to help like run this place and everything. So this is your like center of operations where a lot of things are going to happen. But right now you have the butler Jimothy Wilhelm, and you have the society's library, where you can find clues. And that I am very excited about. There is one. Well, I was going to say there's one more NPC I need to name. There is one more NPC I want to name and talk about a little bit, and it is the former society member who gave you the keys to the castle. There is one person from the old society, the one who 10 years ago locked up their doors, gave up their pursuits, and stopped for whatever reason, who you were able to track down and who gave you just enough information. They gave you the keys. They told you about, what are we calling it? Hemlig Citadel, about the library, and were able to help you track down your butler, Wilhelm. I want to talk, first of all, I want to give them a name, and I want to figure out how you all know this person.
Okay, hear me out.
Okay.
Mark with a C. Danson. Ancestor of one Mutt Danson.
Okay.
All right. I'm here for it. I am applicable to this. I will. I'm here
Go
for it.
along with
Applicable.
this. Applicable. I am applicable.
You're always
You apply to this situation.
Comply to the situation. I apply to the situation. I comply and apply.
Amenable? Is that?
Amenable,
That's
I
the
think
word
is
I
what-
was going for, but
You got most of
Now
the way there.
now I'm
I
just
resemble that
embarrassed.
remark.
I resemble that remark.
What's fucking
Okay.
What's your character's name?
Mark Danson.
Zuckerberg.
No.
No.
I'm sorry.
What do we know? What do we know about Mark? Give
Mark
me
with a C.
everybody. I'm gonna go around and call on you, and everybody tell me something we know about Mark. LB, what's something we know about Mark?
Mark is an old man.
Okay, he's like super old.
I mean, like for the time, I would say he's probably pushing 70.
Okay, so Mark is old. So even 10 years ago, when the society sort of gave up, he was 60.
Mhm.
So he was already old. All right, love it,
Venerable.
love it. Sid, what do we know about Mark?
Mark is a wealthy philanthropist.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, interesting. So even after he wasn't part of the society anymore, he was still had something to do. Val, what do we know about Mark?
I was thinking maybe something like he might have like suffered a terrible injury or an accident or some sort of ailment, and he is in a wheelchair.
Okay. So Mark is disabled due to an injury, maybe an on-the-job injury.
Yeah, that's what I was. Maybe that is the. We all assume that. I don't know how much Mark has actually talked to us about the prior society days and all of that, but
Not a lot.
yeah, maybe
Okay.
we all just assume that it was an injury, then that's why he stopped hunting.
How do you know him? Why did Mark come to you and say, have the keys to the castle? We've kind of established how you all know each other, at least a little bit.
Can we also lord him? Can we go Sir Mark Danson? Because I really like that
Sir?
too.
Sure. So he's got serious connections.
Yeah, especially if you're making like a
Sir?
wealthy philanthropist. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Sir Mark Danson.
Okay, then he's secretly like a revolutionary leader then too.
You think so?
All that money, the philanthropy, does something like this. He's got to or he has to have some sort of like seedy underbelly background too.
So he's got some secret underground affiliation.
What that is, have fun, GM.
What is the question again? Just so I.
How you know him?
How do we know him?
Why did he come to you?
Are we answering this for each of us individually or like as a group?
Or as a group is fine too.
I feel like we all well,
Or which one of you would he have come to?
what's our timeline on this? How long,
how long have we-
after the incident did all of this transpire? Like, are we talking like, is this really fresh? Like a couple months
I'm gonna
ago?
say
Is it like a year ago that the whole
I'm gonna say this is about 6 months later
okay.
that you finally put everything together, gotten the keys to the castle, and you are reforming the society for real.
I was thinking like as especially being older and disabled that maybe Danny was their treating physician or something.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. How about Villy and Mark knew each other, like we visited the same like level of bars. So like being servants, we both like after work we would go to a bar and we kind of met there and started communicating about things. One drunken night, Villy told them about the I guess I'm assuming that Mark was that worked there before.
Mark wasn't the servant though.
Mm-mm.
Mark's rich, biatch.
Wait, who's the?
That's
Who's the
Jimothy.
servant?
That's
Jimothy. Jimothy. Jim and I.
Do a Jim.
We're past Jim now.
But maybe
Okay,
your
but what?
maybe
right,
your former
he-
master or something was.
Well, I was thinking if Jim worked at the society before, or if Jim worked for Mark, and I had been speaking to Jim about the things that I've seen, or like, this is the scar that I got from that sort of situation, then Jim told Mark about her site, and
Yeah.
then
Jimothy would know him.
okay.
That makes sense.
Tilda knows Mark's seedy underbelly, whatever it is.
Okay. We will talk about that. All right. Is there anything else character-wise or background-wise for the Citadel that anyone wants to add in? As we're reaching being done.
Not about the Citadel, but I need to name my dog.
Oh, you do need to name your dog.
This is important. Okay.
Very important.
Is it all right? This is a dog that Tilda got. What's the story? Where did you find this dog? Was it a street dog?
Oh,
Did you find it as a
street
puppy?
dog. It was 100%
Absolutely a
street
stray.
dog puppy. Yeah, 100% stray. Like total mutt situation.
Okay.
Oh, mutt.
Okay.
So not a super big dog, not like a little tiny dog. Like just, you have no idea what kind of dog this is. Yeah, medium-sized dog.
Okay. What about, would Tilda name a dog a practical name, like a person name, or like, okay, there's three schools of thought here.
Yes.
There is I'm gonna name the dog or Sniffer or something like that. There's the dog names like Rover and that sort of thing.
Spot.
Or it's like a person name.
Like Frank. Yeah.
Right. I've seen a lot of dog names. If you want,
100%.
my favorite dog name ever was Sir Brutus. It was a bulldog and he was adorable.
Oh my god.
I wouldn't mind. I think I've headcanon again. Billy respects the dog above everyone else.
100%. Okay, I think we have to go. I think we just have to go like person name. I think she's a person name sort of dog namer.
Male or female?
Female.
Or none? Okay.
Female. Because maybe we'll get some puppies out of this.
Yes.
Savannah's just eye rolling over here. Beatrice. The dog's name is Beatrice.
I'm gonna put that as a relationship.
You have a relationship with Beatrice, the dog. I'm putting that in my relationships as well.
Do it.
Beatrice.
All right.
My dog.
Anything else?
I assume the stuff in here, like armor, weapons, advantages, insights, that sort of stuff, is things that are like going to come up in play, or if we had gotten gotten those sort of things, we would have gotten them in character creation.
Yes. Yeah, that's all sort of rules stuff that we'll be dealing with.
Okay.
What about the insight/defects?
Again, that's stuff that is going to come up sort of in play.
Okay. Did we just say that?
Yeah, but it's okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was writing about the dog. I was excited.
Do you want to name your horse, Val?
I did.
What's your horse's name?
I named my horse Zoser, who was the
Spell, please.
Zoser. Was the Egyptian pharaoh during the time of Imhotep, who was one of the first physicians in recorded history.
Mm-hmm.
And my dog's name is Beatrice.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, so as far as what I wanted to do today, that covers it. I am going to give you guys a little bit of homework. We're going to do a very fun backstory development thing that I've been doing for a while, that a couple of friends have recommended to me. I've done this for several characters now, and we're going to keep doing it for this one. I will post these in the chat for you, but we call this I'm gonna go through it very quickly, both for you guys and for the chat, because I think for the DMs out there, this is a great thing to ask your players to do. It's called the 5 4 3 2 1. So a couple of you might have done this before. But what it is essentially a countdown, and it gives you prompts of numbers of things to write down. So GMs take note. I'll post this in the Discord. I'll also post this in our the public part of our Discord in our shop talk section because I think it's really great, and I love doing it as a player. So I'm gonna be very excited to get them as a GM. But essentially, what it does is sort of prompt you for different things to write. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 would ask you to write 5 important concepts, that are developmental or integral to your character. This can be your personality, this can be life events, this can be physical characteristics, sentimental items, anything like that. Don't feel like you guys have to write this down because I'll post it. 4, write up to 4 goals you'd like to see throughout the campaign. These can be both character driven and player driven, so goals for your character. 3, create 3 NPCs that are important to your character. 2 are friendly and familiar. 1 is adversarial. 2, create 2 secrets for your character. 1 is a secret your character knows. The other is a secret they are unaware of. And 1 is to develop 1 reason why your character is on this adventure. This is what connects you to the other characters and acts as an investment towards the completion of the story. So I'm going to post that for you all to do this week. We call it the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it freaking rules. I have never not had a good experience doing one of these. I love doing these as a player. I'm going to ask you guys to do these as a player as well and send them to me. GMs, if you're interested in that, I am going to post them in our Discord as well for everyone. So check that out. That is your homework for the week. So anything else that we need to go over? Anything else you all want to talk about?
I think the only thing we didn't really talk about, other than like the kind of the principles that we did at the beginning, is sort of like the tone of the game. Any like I know like for slang and stuff, we've been playing together for a while, so we haven't like lines and veils and things like that we haven't talked about, but we've kind of gone over previously.
Yeah, so I did post just so everyone sort of is aware, like we do always use safety tools on this channel. We use the X, N, and O cards for those. X cards being hard lines, N cards being veils, O cards being hey, yeah, okay, as a check-in for other players. I've posted for my players in our Discord a document where you can put your lines and veils and things like that. Again, like I mentioned at the beginning, this game is going to be a little bit on the darker side compared to Slaying 101. I think we're going to kind of stick with the same tone of that, in that the mysteries are going to be varied, and they're going to be like, I don't do the whole grim dark sort of everything is terrible all the time thing, and I think you guys know that at this point. But yeah, we're gonna aim for something similar to what we were doing with Slaying, probably a little bit more serious, but again, that those moments of levity and everything are very important. So if there's any questions that you guys have about that, obviously I am open to them, and the rest of the group's open to them as well. But our doc where you can put all of your lines and veils is available to you.
Cool. We have been working together for 6 months, you said?
Yeah, about 6 months ago was the body coming back to life incident.
Okay.
Where either some of you gained the sight or you talked to the others about having the sight. So
I guess, should we think about our rapport as a group? Like, what kind of roles people take in like how we interact with each other, or do we feel like we've covered that enough already? I mean, like when we get into it, we'll get into it. But
yeah.
Do we?
There's only so much we can do ahead of time.
Yeah, yeah,
So.
Yeah, and I think I also don't want to do too much without knowing Morgan's character too.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
dynamic in there too.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm okay with leaving that sort of vague as well, so that we can reference things, like come up with things in play, like oh, remember this happened back. But are we okay with coming up with the concept, like, since I guess, do we, as far as since the inciting event that we all kind of came together up until joining this organization being, I guess, the start point for this game, like there were other like experiences with Vaesen and stuff, like we've had some like minor run-ins since then.
Have we, like, so with joining the society, like we're gonna be, I guess, like seeking this stuff out, were we doing that in the past 6 months, or were we just like sort of figuring shit out in the past 6 months?
So in the past 6 months, you've essentially been figuring everything out. We are going to pick back up with you all actually like
taking an assignment, or like doing,
well, not
like
even taking an assignment. Like you are the society at this point. So yeah, deciding on your first big job together.
So this is not like we'll start the season us opening the doors to the place and like, oh, look at all the things. Like, we've been here for a little bit, we've been settled, and now we're ready to
get
start
organized and
societying.
Yeah,
Start
to actually do something. To start societying.
Right.
I mean, is it a good society though, or is it a bad society? Or...
You don't know.
I mean, since everyone is romanceable, it's definitely a good society to me. I don't know about y'all, so.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because I think like during that time, because of how I've set up, or kind of my vision for Danny's character, I like would have been seeking out information on the Vaesen, like, or like, you know, maybe corpses and other things to like gain more knowledge of them, but not like trying to help people specifically, more for the purposes of like understanding. So
yeah. Okay. I will say, Tilda, even though I feel like my characters, when I'm coming into her more, I don't want her to be like super stern all the time. I think when she is like, her normal personality is pretty like upbeat and nice, but she has like sort of a tone switch, and when she does that tone switch, like you need to be eating this, or you know, and then she switches her tone to like, you will eat this. It is a very like scary like mom movement, sort of like, oh shit, yeah, no, I've seen you break bones. Yes, I will.
I love
this
it.
is okay, because I don't think that she's like necessarily mean to Tilda, but I think that she is like understands her place and understands Tilda's place, and like we're on a very similar level, as opposed to like, let me help you, darling. It's like, I think you can handle this. Yeah. Yeah.
And Tilda, again, Tilda's not treating anyone like a servant, because servants are archaic and down with the old order. So, you know.
All right, cool.
Okay.
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into it though.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to get into it. Well, that I think is where we will leave it for today. I am very excited to have a whole mystery planned for us next time. So for next time, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you guys will send me that, and I am so excited to see what you come up with. This is your opportunity for anything you wanted to really like flesh out or sort of bring into your backstory, for you to put it in there. So write as much or as little as you would like. We'll get Morgan in here, and it's gonna be a real good rip roaring monster hunting time, I think. So our next live stream after this is, what's today? Sunday is going to be on Tuesday for another Tabletop Tuesdays. Maybe.
Yeah,
potentially.
Danae and Tyler aren't going to be around, so we're not going to be doing masks. But we might do another episode of The Burbs. We might do a game instead. We haven't decided yet. We're going to see how we're feeling. We might be dark that day. Just depends on.
We'll see. But that's a great reason to follow us on Twitter, because that is where we post all of our shit. So follow us on Twitter. You can see all of our posts about when we're going to go live, what we're going to be playing, all that fun stuff. And then throughout the week, it's going to be a little bit of a light week for us because a couple of us are going to be traveling. But we will be getting back into our regular schedule very soon. And in the meantime, we're probably going to have some video game streams and stuff like that where you can come and hang out with us and things like that. Yeah. Any last words before we go for the day? I don't have any end of session questions to ask you, but anything you want to plug?
Come hang out. Well, okay, you've got two things to hang out at. So at 7 o'clock Eastern, you need to go over to twitch.tv/Colonomicon and you need to watch our Apocalypse World one-shot. It's going to be fucking bananas and I can't wait. Hang out with that, and then that's you, LB.
Oh, hi. We're going to be playing a D&D campaign, homebrew tonight. I'm sorry, I thought you were going to do it. I didn't see your emotion.
Now I'm going to give it to you.
Playthings of the Gods is going to be on LB Hack 'em Up at 8:30 p.m. EST. We're doing a travel montage, as well as all of the players are getting picked by a god. Some of them they don't know. And I'm going to throw a big scary monster at him today, so spoilers. It's going to be fun.
Val, anything you want to plug?
I got nothing.
You got a Patreon.
I do. There's nothing up on it right now. I'm working on it.
There's a poll.
The poll ended. I'm going to be reading our first... sorry, I'm not meaning to be stubborn.
You are.
I do have a Patreon up where I'm going to be doing some audiobook narration for some like public works out there, since I don't have licensing for anything else. And I think the first book that I'm going to be reading is, I'm double checking, I believe it's going to be Frankenstein. So
Mary Shelley.
Yeah. So I'm going to be reading that, and hopefully I'll have my first chapter up sometime this week, and we'll try to get one out by there. But if you're interested in it, go check it out. The first chapter will be up for free, and then after that, if you want to subscribe, and for $5 a month, you can listen to me read a book.
And you should absolutely do that.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us for our session 0 today. I'm so excited to actually play this game and get into these characters and stuff. I think this is going to be just a rip-roaring good time. We will see you 1 week from today on Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, June 6th.
Is that Father's Day? Or
is
that
it?
later?
Also, I won't be here.
Oh, I think it's RJ's birthday.
Well, you know what? We'll see you in at least a week, maybe 2. We don't know. We'll be back in a Sunday or 2 to actually play this game. But until then, Jesus Christ, it's almost June. Good game, and good night, Internet.